The Secretary General has received the final report of the Board of Inquiry into the 28th of October 2009 terrorist attack on the Bakhtar guest house in Kabul, where 34 UN staff were residing. The four-member Board of Inquiry set up in December 2009 was led by Andrew Hughes, a former senior Australian federal police official and former UN police advisor. It began its work in February 2010 and traveled to Kabul the same month. Its report was submitted to the Undersecretary General for the Department of Field Support on the 21st of April 2010. The relevant findings of the report have been shared with the Afghan authorities, and other relevant stakeholders have also been informed. The report details the tragic incident in which 3 Afghan security personnel and 5 UN staff members lost their lives and several others were injured. The United Nations mourns the loss of these brave individuals who died in the service of peace. The report describes the confused situation at the Bakhtar guest house with the attackers and responding security personnel, both dressed in Afghan police uniforms, and a fire raging through the compound. The report suggests the possibility that a UN staff member, Close Protection Officer Louis Maxwell, may have been killed by Afghan security forces who may have mistaken him for an insurgent. Mr. Maxwell died protecting his UN colleagues, many of whom are alive today because of his heroic actions. The report was not able to determine who fired the shots that killed the 3 other United Nations staff members, though it leaves open the possibility that they may also have been killed by friendly fire. The report highlights a number of shortcomings in the UN security measures, as well as with respect to coordination between the United Nations and both its international partners and the host government authorities. In light of the seriousness of the matter, the Secretary General has instructed that the Undersecretary General for Safety and Security, Gregory Starr, review the security findings highlighted in the report. He will lead a team to Kabul next week to discuss next steps and follow up with the Afghan authorities. The Secretary General has also instructed Undersecretary General for Peacekeeping Operations Alain Leroy and Special Representative Staffan de Mistura to contact relevant NATO officials in Brussels and Kabul for further consultations on how best to ensure improved coordination in the event of further emergencies of this nature. The Secretary General reiterates the UN's commitment to transparency and the strengthening of security for its personnel serving in dangerous locations. He calls on the Afghan authorities to ensure a thorough investigation into the attack on the guest house and the killing of UN staff. He pledges the UN's continued dedicated work to assist the Afghan government and the Afghan people to move the peace process forward in Afghanistan. So that's the statement attributable to the spokesperson for the Secretary General, and with that I will pass the floor to Ms. Malcorra, who, as you know, is Undersecretary General for Field Support. Sorry, what available? This statement that I've just read out is available at the back of the room for you in printed form. This is why we're holding the briefing right now. So I would urge you to listen to Ms. Malcorra.
You're having the briefing without the report. Is that what
We're having a briefing where Ms. Malcorra will be briefing you on the findings in the report. So please, Ms. Malcorra.
Well, first of all, thank you, Martin, and this is a very difficult issue to handle, as you may well imagine. Is an issue that includes the death of 5 of our colleagues, so we have taken it very seriously, and we have taken every single step to ensure that we understand what is it that will happen and that we are able to get to a conclusion in the whole circumstances. Let me first start by saying that this was an attack on our guest house in Kabul, in one of our guest houses in Kabul, an attack by insurgents. What we clearly understand from the conclusions of the report is that the house was targeted because it was a place where the largest number of staff belonging to UNDP-elect was hosted. So we believe there is a political connotation to the attack by the Taliban. The 3 insurgents that attacked were dressed in police uniforms, which added a lot to the confusion of the overall situation. What happened is that they were able to take over the guards that were external to the house. They killed and injured the guards that were external to the house, and they were able to gain control of the house immediately, because once they went in, they were able to also injure the 2 internal guards at the door. And with that, they immediately started firing the house through grenades, which created a total situation of panic in the guest house. What we know also from the findings is that 2 of our staff who were security staff, one was a close protection and the other one was a UNDSS security staff, were able to fire back. Particularly the close protection staff, Mr. Maxwell, took a position in one of the roofs of the house, and from there he was able to hold the fort and be able to protect our colleagues that by then were trying to go through the house, through a back door, and leave the house behind. All of this was in a total chaotic situation without a clear understanding of who was fighting against who, particularly, again, by the fact that the attackers were dressed in Afghan police uniforms. The next thing we know is that of the 5 staff members who died, 1 died caught in the fire, 3 died as they were escaping what is led to be believed a friendly fire. And the 5th one, who is Mr. Maxwell, he first fell from the roof. It is not totally clear how he fell, whether he just fell or he was wounded, but he was able to survive that process while the 3 perpetrators in different moments blew themselves out. What the Board of Inquiry reflects at the very end is that it's not clear how Mr. Maxwell was killed in the middle of that very complicated situation, with some believing that he was an attacker from the roof of the building, and it is not being, as I said, from the proofs that the Board of Inquiry was able to recollect, it is not clear how he was killed, even though there is a strong sense that he may have been killed by some of the Afghan police. This was all done in circumstances that are of a severe attack, circumstances in which exchange of fire was performed from both sides, neither one of the sides knowing exactly clear who was attacking on the other one, and with a very, very confusing situation. So what we have done, as Secretary General instructed us, is first inform the Afghan authorities of what the findings were. Just as a reminder, this Board of Inquiry is not an inquiry in the sense of a court inquiry. It's an internal managerial inquiry, so it doesn't have all the tools that are required in a full legal inquiry. So now we are asking the Afghan authorities to further pursue the investigation to find out in more details what they can finalize regarding these cases. We have informed also the families so that they are aware of the circumstances of the death of their beloved ones, and we are now informing you as the press to fully give the transparency that is required with the information we have, which is, of course, as far as the Board of Inquiry could go. Thank you.